What's up guys, Brad here, and today we're going to be doing another card review because the newest expansion, the Boomsday project, is right around the corner. So this is the 9th Hearthstone expansion, and it's pretty exciting. I'm probably not the most excited for this one, as I haven't played Hearthstone too much, and I feel like almost a lot of times right around the new expansions I'm just coming back from, a time where I haven't played too much. And it's usually because I get sick of the card sets, and I'm ready for some changes. I'm ready for something new to come along and actually change up the gameplay, because I get sick of playing against the same decks over and over again. But anyways, we're going to do it the same way as last time. So as you can see here, we've got our 5-star ratings here. We've got 5 stars, which is meta-defining cards. So these are cards that I think are going to be very, very powerful in almost every single deck that is played within that class. Maybe something that creates a new deck style. And 4 stars is going to be a great card. And so it's played pretty often. Doesn't mean it's in every single druid deck or warrior deck, but it is played quite often, and it's very powerful when it's played. 3 stars is experimentation, or it's just a good card. This means that it could be a pretty good card, but as we know in standard rotations, cards need to be in a ridiculous power level in order for them to be even played, let alone even considered as making it into the 30 deck slot. So yeah, there's a lot. I actually feel like cards that are like experimentations, they could be very, very powerful, but at the same time they could just also end up being good. And then there's the 2 star, which is usually the meme cards. These are fun, just cards that you play just to mess around with, or they're just meh cards. So usually they're, for the most part, meme cards when I put them in the 2-star category. But there are times where it's it's not complete trash, but at the same time it just is meh. I don't know. So and then obviously the 1-star thing is the trash cards, and usually you can disenchant these cards because I just think that you'll never see them played. You don't need to play them. And yeah, so let's anyways jump into it. Please don't mind what I look like too. I feel like I look like crap, as I just woke up, and I feel like I'm very, my eyes feel like they're all swollen and stuff. I slept terrible. But anyways, so card number 1 is Flabitius Floop. I think I said that right. 4 mana, 3/4, and while this is in your hand, this is a 3/4 copy of the last minion you played. So I guess this card is making the rounds and been talked about a lot. I personally haven't really watched a lot of stuff or read too much about it. It's just a few things here and there I've seen. And originally, actually, when I first saw this card, I was like, I don't know why people are going crazy, because I was thinking that you had to play the card during the same turn for it to turn into a new card, or else it would just be this 4 mana 3/4 guy. So I was like, I don't really know why people are going crazy, but then I realized, oh, it's because of Malygos Druid, where you just play Malygos on turn 9, and then you have a 4 mana Malygos basically. So that it does make sense now, after I figured that out a little bit. But I do think there are other potentials for the card too, not just Malygos, as I feel like most people are probably thinking about that. So obviously any very powerful death rattles can be utilized for that. And turn effects such as the Lich King. So if you want to utilize something a little bit different than just the Malygos combo, you can do that. But obviously I think the Malygos combo is going to be the most popular. And from what it seems like, and from what I've heard, Druid is coming back kind of from, I believe it was Night of the Frozen Throne, where it was Druid Stone for 2 months, and I got sick of the game very quickly. I'm kind of afraid of the same thing happening, because it seems like Druid got a lot of powerful cards again. And if that's the case, then yeah, we'll see. I just really hope it's not the case. And then we've got my rating of it, I'm actually gonna say I think it's gonna be a 4-star card. I'm not gonna go out and say it's 5-star meta-defining card for Flabitius Floop, so that's just myself. But I'm sure it's very possibly gonna be a 5-star card, and gonna just revolve around the druid stone that it is, that everybody's kind of already expecting. But I do think there's potential for other classes to come about and be pretty decent. So then next, we're going to talk about Floop's Glorious Gloop. And this is a 1 mana spell. Whenever a minion dies this turn, you gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. So it kind of is reminiscent of another druid card. There was like a 3 mana spell that it was based on how many minions you had on the board. Nobody really played it too often. I think it got played a hair. I don't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but just to say, this is a lot more powerful. Obviously, it's 1 mana, and I don't think it's as powerful as it could be, just because you do need to have a board presence already. So you're probably already going to be around like 4 mana when you play it, and you're going to hope to at least gain 2 mana worth. So, I mean, it is definitely possible, and it is powerful, but I don't think it's like this outrageous, completely broken card. I just think it's a very, very good card. It's going to be played within this like new Treant token druid that I think is going to be coming about for experimentation. So it's kind of similarly to the Phobidius Floop, the guy, I guess, that made this Glorious Gloop. It's a 4-star card, so it's another great card. I think it's definitely got a lot of potential, and I think we're going to be seeing some definitely play from druid here. And then next, we've got Dream Petal Florist, 7 mana 4/4, and at the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 7. So I actually think this card is very, very powerful, which, as you can see here, there's just 3 cards in a row that I'm thinking are pretty great. So no, surprise here, it's another 4-star card, but man, I mean, you're basically getting a free 4/4 body, if you technically think about it. I mean, it's a very slow first turn, but it's more of like, okay, I'm playing this guy just to reduce the cost of my next combo. So this is definitely a combo piece centric card for maybe that Malygos style deck. Maybe you can do other experimentations, even if you want to just do something like a big druid, and then you can drop some a 1 mana Lich King, for example. So definitely a lot of fun to be had there. Next up, I think this is probably the most talked about card, at least that I know of. As I said, haven't really done a lot of searching, listening to, haven't watched many reviews or anything like that. This is a Juicy Psych Melon, 4 mana spell. It draws a 7, 8, 9, and 10 cost minion from your deck. So I don't really understand what Blizzard was thinking when creating this. I mean, it's been pretty evident that drawing mechanics have been about, so if you draw 2 cards, it usually costs about 3. Draw 3 cards, they usually cost about 5, So it's about 1.5 mana per card draw, if you were to say about that. I mean, look at Sprint. Sprint draws 4 cards, and it's 7 mana. I mean, you have to prep into Sprint to get to 4 mana to draw 4 cards, and that seems like a very powerful combination. And then you got this card that draws specific cards from your deck for 4 mana. It's I could see this easily getting nerfed in the future. I could see it becoming 6 mana. That's pretty significant. But yeah, I mean, this is a 5-star card by far. I think this is one of the reasons why the Malygos combo druid is so feared and why people are afraid of Druidstone. So you've got just an endless amount of card draw in druid already. You got the ramping mechanics, you got the combo pieces, you got ways to draw exactly what you need. So yeah, we'll see if it ends up being as scary as it seems. But so let's get here. Let me adjust it. Hopefully I get it right spot. So next up we have the Mulch Muncher, 10 mana 8/8 mech with Rush, and the cost 1 less for each friendly treant that died this game. So I kind of like the treant idea. So I actually was a huge fan when they were like creating the hand druid, a hand kind of style druid, and I never really saw it be played out in the wilds too much. I only really played it myself. I actually had an even cost only hand druid that did actually very well for myself, and it actually kind of fits within the theme here because there's a lot of treants actually within that deck, and between like Soul of the Forest, and then you've got cards like even just the 2-mana card that gives you the treants in your hand, that basically what makes the hand druid something. For some reason I can't think of the name of it, but I mean, there's just a lot of potential for this style of deck. I don't think it's going to be nearly as powerful as the Malygos style druid, but I do think that if there is going to be something very powerful in like the later times, because I don't think right this expansion the treants are going to be super powerful, but I think that this card alone makes it to where you could see the power level become amazing. So Mulch Muncher to me actually gets a 4-star card again. I mean, Druid's just actually dominating so far, and the reason to me is it's not so much of this expansion, it's more for the future that I think that this card has the most potential. And like I do think that it like so I'll say this, I think the card by itself is like a 4-star card, but I think for this current expansion it's going to be about a 3-star card, so it's just going to be good, where you could play it, it's going to do well, but it's not going to be like nearly played nearly as much. So I guess that's more of the way I should explain it. So next up, Tending Tauren, 6-mana 3/4, and you get to choose one, which is either give your other minions +1/+1 or summon 2 2/2 treants. So this is the first real downfall for Druid here, and it's mainly because a 6-mana give +1/+1 for 3/4 body seems pretty bad. So basically, Power of the Wild is a 2-mana card that gives +1/+1 to all your minions, and let's 2 mana. So then that means that 4-mana 3/4 plain body is basically what it is. It's just terrible. And summoning 2 2/2 treants next to it, I don't think is that useful. I do think that's easily the way you go about it. By far, you're not going to choose anything. But to me, I don't even think if you're playing a treant deck, you're playing this guy. I think this is actually a 1-star card. It's complete trash. I don't believe anybody will be touching this card at all. So, yeah. The next we have Dendrologist. It's a 2-mana 2/3 in Battlecry. If you control a treant, discover a spell. So I actually think this is pretty solid. I think that there is definitely a lot to be seen here. It's a lot of play, a lot of fun, a lot of potential. You can get a lot of fun spells. I mean, Druid has a ton of great spells, so this is definitely an easy inclusion for any deck that's going to utilize the treants. So to me, definitely gets the 3-star card. Yeah, I mean, not too much to say, it's just pretty solid. So next we have the Gloop Sprayer. 8-mana 4/4 Battlecry, summon a copy of each adjacent minion. So I mainly see this card being utilized within the combo deck, similarly to what I've said. But the only real way I think that this card will be utilized is if you're able to play Dream Petal Florist and you get the discount onto the Gloop Sprayer. So then you can play your cheap 4-mana Malygos, and then you can play Prince Teleram, the 3-mana guy that makes copy, and then you can play a 1-mana version of Gloop Sprayer, and then you get 2 more guys next to you that have the +5/+5, and you're able to go off. I mean, I think that's overkill, but it's a potential. Realistically, I think it won't be played. I'm saying like that's the only real reason I think that this card will even be played. So personally, I think it's a 2-star card, just a meme card, not really much else there. And then finally, our last 2 Druid cards here. We've got the Landscaping 3-mana spell, which summons 2 2/2 treants. This is just a solid card. even if you're not playing like a Treant style deck. The bad part about it is 3 mana, and a lot of times, obviously, we all know it's Druid, and you play Wild Growth, and you Wild Growth past 3 mana, you want to go to 4 mana. So there's that awkwardness, but you can actually play, I feel like, Druid sometimes without the Wild Growth mechanic. I mean, I think people kind of latch too much onto it. While yes, it is very, very powerful, but this card by itself is just so powerful. I mean, it's 4/4 body, just plain at 3 mana, basically just split into 2 bodies. It's very powerful, and as I said, I mean, I think the Mulch Muncher is pretty awesome. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I actually think it's like it's like in between to me. It's like 3.5. I want to say 4 stars, kind of similar to Mulch Muncher. But like I think at the same time, it's like for this current like expansion, I think it's gonna be 3 stars. So I guess I'll just say it's a 3-star card for now. But I definitely can see it rising up to the 4-star level like in the future. And then finally we got Biology Project, a 1 mana spell, and each player gains 2 mana crystals. So this is actually very solid, good ramp mechanic, obviously. You get these mana crystals right away, so on turn 1 you play this, you'll have 2 mana crystals. You can like play Biology Project into Wild Growth, and I mean, that's pretty good ramping right there. The only negative thing is ramping your opponent too. I'm not a big fan of giving my opponent stuff. Yes, there is, you know, decent, I mean, it does benefit you better because you're getting the mana crystals first, but at the same time they're getting the full effect of all the mana crystals because you have to utilize 1 of the mana crystals instead of being able to utilize like all 3. Kind of because it's kind of like Innervate if you think about it, like you know, you're getting those 2 mana crystals and then you play something because you're getting like 3 mana basically to play around with in the first turn, but you have to utilize the first one to gain the other 2. I don't know, I'm rambling right now. Anyways, it's a 4-star card. It's a great card. I think that people are going to definitely be messing around with it, especially with that combo deck. I'm telling you, that combo deck is going to be very brutal. So overall, I think if we're going to do a quick review, you could see that Druid is going to be quite amazing. I mean, a lot of the cards got great numbers here. I mean, most of them were in the upper threshold of 4 stars range. So, yeah, I'll be honest, I don't really give 5 stars out that often because I don't think cards really stand out enough to be 5 stars. That's like that, you know, nothing's perfect kind of category. And they got some close ones. And Juicy Melon, man, that is about as close as it gets to perfect. So, anyways, time to move to Hunter. So Hunter has kind of the focus on the, I guess, mech synergy. That's kind of new. It's kind of like bringing GVG back, I guess this kind of feels like. So we'll start off here, and we've got Flark's Boomzooka. And it's 8 mana, summon 3 minions from your deck. They attack enemy minions and then die. So before I actually talk about my opinion on it, the only thing I'm a little confused about is I don't understand if these minions attack randomly, like if you choose who they attack, or if, like, you know, I don't, because if it's like, hey, they just attack at random and then they die, that's obviously a little worse than if you get to choose where each minion gets to attack. But my thought initially is that this is pretty good in a Death Rattle style Hunter. So if you get some powerful Death Rattles, obviously that's what you're going to be looking for. Now, it's kind of bad if you're playing a, you know, a minion heavy style deck and then you pull out some, you know, lower mana cost minions and they attack in and they don't kill really much of anything because they're not powerful enough. So I feel like if you're going to play this deck, it's got to be Death Rattle style. I mean, if you pull out like a Devilsaur Egg style card, I'm not saying exactly that card, even because it doesn't attack and then it kills itself and it comes back as like the 5/5 something example like that, is where I believe that the card will be best utilized almost. But I don't know. Personally, to me, I don't think it's super powerful. I think it's a little too expensive. Even though, yes, summoning 3 minions and attacking is powerful. But I'm just going to say it's a 3-star card because I think it's just going to be needing experimentation. But in the long run, I think it's going to end up falling down to a 2-star because it's more going to be a meme card. So next we have Boommaster Flark. So 7 mana, 5/5, and a battle cry. I've summoned 4 0/2 Goblin Bombs. So I personally think that this is... So I think one of the themes that they're going with here for Hunter is it's almost like a super meme deck. So they have this Goblin Bombs deck, and I freaking love it. It's just awesome because it's funny. I mean, the card isn't powerful like the Goblin Bomb itself, as it's just a 0/2 bomb that Death Rattle deals 2 damage to the face. It's kind of like a Leper Gnome, but with 2 health. And and the reason it has it doesn't have any attack is because it's a mech, so you can able to buff it and whatnot because of the mech synergies. But so it's actually pretty solid, as in the fact that it's balanced, but it's very, very underwhelming because it doesn't have any attack. You got to do something with it in order for it to be utilized. But I just think that there's a lot of synergies within the Hunter that make it to be... It'll be so much fun to be able to kill somebody with these Goblin Bombs that I'm so excited for it. So realistically, I think Boommaster Flark is going to be about a 3-star card. Now, I think that's a little higher than what it should be because I think 7 mana 5/5 is very weak. But these 0/2 Goblin Bombs by it, if you're able to, taunt them up, able to do something to protect yourself, I mean, there is some potential for it. So that's the reason why I actually think there's experimentation, because I think that there is some decent mech synergy with the Hunter. But next, let's move into Necromechanic, which is a 5 mana 3/6, and your Death Rattles trigger twice. So this is a perfect example of a card that works great with these Goblin Bombs. So if you're able to trigger the Goblin Bombs, you're able to, with this card on the board, you're doing 4 damage to the face, each one that gets triggered. But reality is, 5 mana 3/6 is really not that bad of a stat line. Would prefer to see it at the 4 mana slot, but still, it's a very powerful text effect here. And I mean, it could be played within more than just like this Goblin Bomb meme deck. There's a lot of other Death Rattles that are very powerful too. So to me, I think Necromechanic is like another one kind of in the middle, 3.5. It's like 3, 4. I guess I'll just be safe and still say 3 stars here, because I'm just not sure how exactly powerful this Death Rattle Hunter is going to be. So yeah, and then we've got Goblin Prank, 2 mana spell. When you give a friendly minion +3/+3 and rush, and it dies at the end of the turn. So kind of similarly, I think that this is another good card that you could utilize the Goblin Bombs. So yeah, anything with basically a decent Death Rattle that you want to kill off, and you can maybe trade into something with it. Downfall obviously is that it's too, basically, if you play like something like, we'll continue with the Goblin Bombs here. So say you play a Goblin Bomb on like turn 1, because there's a 1 mana card, neutral card, and then on turn 2 you play this +3/+3 rush card. Obviously you're not utilizing really the rush mechanic, but you play +3/+3 and kill something. I mean, it's 2 cards, so it's not really that powerful. So to me, I'm not really sure. I'm actually just looking down for a second because I have some of the stuff written down. I actually kind of am thinking it's like a 2-star card. I think it's just gonna be really for a meme. If not, it's kind of like 1 star, because I could see it being... I mean, it's an epic card, and I don't believe it's going to be utilized much at all, other than for like just somebody who wants to have fun with some random card that doesn't get seen played at all. So you probably might be safe to disenchant this, but I don't personally disenchant much of anything. So yeah. So, alright, and we'll move down here to Spider Bomb, a 3-mana 2/2 mech. It's got magnetic, which is one of the newest keywords that they have it. So, how magnetic works is if you put a card that has magnetic text next to a mech on the left-hand side of it, it will combine with that card. So, say if you have, let's just say you got a 1/1 mech on the board. And then you place this on the left of it, it'll become a 3/3 mech with the Death Rattle also attached to it. So you can continuously kind of buff it. It's kind of like a buff card, but also a minion. It's kind of like you could play either or. It's kind of like a choose one effect. So very cool effect. I actually like it a lot. Excited to see how it works out. And I think that Spider Bomb is actually pretty solid, because if you think about it, it's basically a Deadly Shot with a 2/2 body. And Deadly Shot's not terrible. It's not utilized too often, but it's definitely not terrible. And I can see it being utilized in this like Death Rattle mech style hunter. So I think it's pretty much just a experimentation card. It seems like a lot of these hunter cards, where Druid has fallen a lot of times in the 4 slot here, 4 stars. Hunter has kind of fallen in this 3-star category. I think they're pretty good cards. I don't think there's anything that's like blown my mind away yet, but I think there's definitely been some experimentation with the Hunter here. So yep, definitely a 3-star card. The next we got Fireworks Tech, which is a 2-mana 2/1 battle cry. Give a friendly mech +1/+1, and if it has a Death Rattle, you trigger it. Another great card for this Goblin meme, the Goblin Bombs meme, man. So I'm telling you, I'm excited about this Goblin Bombs. I'm playing this when it comes out. It's not gonna be good, but man, am I playing it. And I actually think the card's good with basically any other mechs also, because it's kind of like giving a +1/+1 to another minion. So, well, obviously, but it's like giving Rush, like having Rush +1/+1 or something to that nature. Kind of like Charge +1/+1 actually, because the minion's already on the board. You buff it, you can attack the face. So yeah, I think it's actually a pretty solid card. So it's kind of going to fall in the same category, because I'm not sure how the Death Rattle mech Hunter is going to be. So it falls in that 3-star category. But I'm, as I said, very, very excited about it. Next, we have Cyber Tech Chip, which is a 2-mana spell. Give your minions Death Rattle, add a random mech to your hand. So my initial thought for it is it's basically like the mech version of Infest. That was an old 3-mana spell that Hunter had, where it gave you a random beast in your hand. So I do think that this is a little more powerful than Infest, but at the same time, I don't know how powerful this is going to be. So I don't believe you're going to find a spot for this card within that mech style deck. I think you're going to want to play some other things. So I'm kind of thinking this is more like a meme card. It does seem like it's a lot of fun, but I don't believe that you're going to be wanting a bunch of just random mechs to add to your hand. So that's why I'm saying 2-star card. So next we've got Bomb Toss, which is a 2-mana, deal 2 damage, and summon a 0/2 Goblin Bomb. There it is, Goblin Bomb again. As I'm sure you know, I like the Goblin Bomb cards, so I like this card. But I don't think it's very powerful. I mean, Arcane Shot's 1-mana, deal 2 damage, and then you're summoning a 1-mana Goblin Bomb, which is arguably not really even worth 1 mana, but it should be fun. So I just think this is once again a meme card. It's 2 stars. Not really much to be said there. And finally, we've got our last 2. Let me just get it center there. We've got Venomizer, 2-mana 2/2 mech with magnetic and poisonous. So I think this is actually a pretty solid card, because any poisonous card that has more than 1 health, I think it's decent. As you can't just ping it down. You can't just attack it with a little, your hero power or something. So it forces them to choose something else. And on top of that, I think the fact that it's magnetic makes it even more powerful. So you can maybe you want to buff something up that has a lot of health and low attack, a lot of health mech. So you can do a lot of trading and kill off almost anything. So I think there's a lot of versatility in it. So as usual, it's falling in that 3-star category. I think it's got a lot of that versatility for that mech Death Rattle style hunter. And finally, Secret Plan, a 1-mana spell that discovers a secret. So, this card to me is kind of It's not terrible, it's not great, it's kind of meh, which is why it's a 2-star card in my opinion. But this does make me want to talk about it. I do want to talk about Secret Hunter here for a second, because I'm going to do a little overview here for the Hunter class. So I think Hunter has a decent card pool, not nearly as powerful as Druid, but definitely a solid card pool nonetheless. They have the Death Rattle mech mechanic mainly being pushed out, and so for myself, I think it's going to be okay. I actually think that Secret Hunter might be a little better. So Secret Hunter is going to be coming about because of a card that we'll talk about that's in the neutral legendary slot that's able to draw 5 different, basically have to be individual secrets, so it can't draw 2 explosive traps. So, but it could draw 5 of them, and so that card alone I think it might make a secret style deck come about, and it's a beast on top of that, so I mean, it's something to think about. So yeah, I think Hunter's in a decent spot, not too overpowered. I think it's about it's pretty balanced personally. That's what I'm thinking. And this is coming from somebody though, I do not know current meta situations at all. Very, very little do I know. So if something crazy is happening where Hunter is like just getting destroyed and they're horrible and this is gonna just make them worse, I don't know. But just these cards, looking at just these cards alone and what my thoughts are on these cards, makes me think they're in a decent balanced spot. So we're moving on to Mage. I'm gonna take a quick sip of water as I look at these cards. And I'm probably not going to do any editing because I just don't have the time, and this is mainly for myself. And you know, obviously if you enjoy it and watch it too, it's great. Hopefully you enjoy listening to my opinion on these cards. So Luna's Pocket Galaxy 7-mana spell, change the cost of minions in your deck to 1. So I actually think this is pretty powerful. This might be one of the more powerful cards in the set. Right up there with that Juicy Melon, I think. And the reason is because of that old combo Mage. So Archmage and Denitus, obviously. Now, I'm not sure how... The problem I have is, I'm thinking you're going to want to do a minion heavy style deck with this card, because you're going to want to play because I'm thinking about Raven Familiar. So 2-mana 2/2 card, you joust basically, and if you have the higher cost spell, you draw that card out. And if you're able to do that consistently and play this card basically on turn 7 right away, you're going to be doing quite well, I think. I think you're going to have a very powerful, you know, deck right there. And especially being able to use the combos. Now, the negative thing, obviously, is you need spells to generate for the fireballs. So, like for your Sorcerer's Apprentices, and then you might want like Frostbolt or something just to generate that fireball. But the bad thing is that obviously if you have a lot of these spells, you're going to have a higher potential to draw out the Frostbolt or something when you play Raven Familiar. So I'm not too sure. So I don't know. I'm thinking that this is like a very close to 5-star card, but I'm leaning more towards now a 4-star card because of that Raven Familiar mechanic, as you're just not gonna... I don't think you're gonna be able to reliably draw Luna's Pocket right away with him. Just because you have to play, I mean, it's a mage, you have to play spells. So, yeah. So I'm going to say 4-star card for it. And then next up we have Stargazer Luna, 3-mana 2/4. After you play the rightmost card in your hand, you draw a card. So this actually worked kind of great with Luna's Pocket Galaxy too, because if you're able to keep consistently playing 1-mana cards, because let's say you play Luna's Pocket Galaxy, you get Stargazer Luna, you play the card, and then you consistently keep playing the rightmost card to draw, and they're all 1 cost. You can really build up quite a board there. I think it has a lot of potential, for a actual aggressive token style maybe mage. Maybe token's not the right word, but some aggressive style mage. So I definitely think it has a lot of potential. So I'm gonna go with 4 stars, also for Stargazer Luna. So I mean 3 and 2/4 bodies, not the greatest, but it's definitely not bad with that text that it has. Next we got Astromancer, 7 mana, 5/5 with Battlecry. Summon a random minion with cost equal to your hand size. So it's basically Spiteful Summoner style card. I just think that this hand style mage is, well, yes. Okay. If you're playing a big hand style mage, it's probably because you're playing like a control style mage with Frostlass Jaina. But I don't believe this card fits within that archetype, personally. It's not horrible. I just think that the big hand mage is like a meme, so which is why I'm giving this a 2-star card. I can see this being a little bit better, but for myself right now, I'm definitely gonna say 2 stars. Next, we got Unexpected Results. So it's 4 mana, and you summon 2 random cost minions, which is improved by spell damage. So I think this looks like a lot of fun, personally, as there's a card that we're going to be seeing just in a moment. It's called Celestial Emissary, and it gives basically the card gives +2 spell damage as a battle cry for that turn. And I think with that card, you can have some fun with it. I mean, if you're getting 4, like, so basically if you're getting 2 4/4s for 4 mana, so well, technically it'd be 6 mana, a 2/1 body, because that's what Celestial Emissary is, and then 2 random 4/4s. It's not bad, but at the same time, it's kind of a little too much, too memey for me to say that it's any better than 2 stars. So yeah, but it's definitely a cute little combo that's got going on there. Alright, so next we got Meteorologist. 6 mana, 3/3 for each card in your hand. Deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So it's kind of like having Avenging Wrath from Paladin on a 3/3 body, but I don't know. Avenging Wrath isn't really that great. And as I said, Hand Mage is kind of a meme to me. So it's just a 2-star card. I don't know. It's just myself. Next, Celestial Emissary, as I talked about, 2 mana, 2/1, Elemental Battlecry. Your next spell this turn has +2 spell damage. I personally just don't think that if it was always having +2 spell damage, like it wasn't just a Battlecry, I think this card would be a lot better. But because it's only for that turn, it makes the card significantly worse. To where it's just it's only a meme card because of that Unexpected Results, where if it wasn't for that, it would just be complete meh. Obviously Arcane Blast, I believe that's Arcane Explosion, Arcane Blast, jeez. Arcane Explosion, the 2 mana basic card that you get just starting the game, that deals 1 damage to all enemy minions. With this card is an okay little combo, so basically dealing 3 damage to all. Not too bad, but I just think the body is so weak that makes it a lot harder to really justify playing it. So next up, Astral Rift, 2 mana spell. Add 2 random minions to your hand. Very simple. It's Hand Mage meme, so 2 stars. Then we got Cosmic Anomaly, 4 mana, 4/3 elemental with spell damage +2. So I actually do like this card. I think it's cool that it's like, because a lot of times when we see this +2 spell damage, right, we're seeing it on cards that are extremely weak. So there's the Kobold guy. I can't remember his full name. 4 mana, 2/2 with +2 spell damage, which I actually utilized a little bit within a rogue deck, and it wasn't too bad. But that was also a neutral minion. This is a mage card. It's an elemental, and it's got a little better stats, paladin Shredder stats, but The only reason why Paladin Shredder was really that useful was because of the Death Rattle. The spell damage to me, it's just too weak. You're not going to be utilizing too much. You kind of want a lower cost spell damage effect on a card rather than a higher cost, because you can't play as many spells, obviously, with the higher cost cards. So to me, it's just a 2-star card. It's kind of meh. Alright, and now we're going to move it down here to Research Project and Shooting Stars, our last 2 mage cards. So Research Project, it's a 2-mana spell that each player draws 2 cards. So it's a spell version of Coldlight Oracle. And I like it. Coldlight Oracle is awesome. And I like this card a lot. Listen, card draw is awesome. Yes, downside, you're giving your opponent 2 cards too. But I think with the whole... I think the reason why this card is good also is because of the combo. You want to, as often as you can, draw as many cards as you can as a mage to get your combo pieces, so then you can go off and just kill them in one turn. And this is just another way to do that. A little cheaper than Arcane Intellect, and I think it's great. I think it's a 4-star card because I do think that there's a lot of potential with the combo Archmage mage, basically. So, and then finally we got Shooting Star. It's a 1-mana spell, deal 1 damage to a minion and the minion next to it. So I don't know. I don't think it's that great. I don't have really much to say. I think it's kind of just a meh card. It'll be fun to mess around with, but yeah, I'm just not really feeling it much. I don't think it's going to see much play at all. So 2 stars for the mage. So basically, final review here. I believe that what you're going to see for mage is you're going to see the combo mage. I think you're going to see a lot of Luna's Pocket Galaxy, a lot of the Stargazer Luna, Archmage Antonidas. Those are mainly what are going to be kind of the bread and butter of the combo, obviously, and then also Research Project, because drawing cards is obviously very good. So next up, we are going to Paladin. And alright, so Paladin, we've got Kangor's Endless Army. I hope I'm saying that right. 7-mana spell, resurrect 3 friendly mechs, and they keep any magnetic upgrades that they get. So, I mean, basically getting 3 cards if you... So, obviously, you're going to want to pick and choose what cards you're resurrecting. So, you're going to want to pick and choose the mechs. You're not going to play every mech because you really don't want to get a crappy mech to come back that, you know, has just nothing worth the value. So, you're going to pick and choose your mechs, and I think Paladin actually has some cool mechs to be utilized with this card. So personally, I actually think it's like, I think it's another one of those cards that later on in sets, if they print more mechs and stuff, you could see this card being very, very powerful. But I think it's just definitely going to be a lot of experimentation with this guy. I think it's a good card, but I think you're going to have to experiment and see how the mechs line up, because there are some good mechs, but there's not... I don't think there's enough of the really good ones that you're going to want to play. So, I'm saying 3 stars for now. So then we got Crystal Smith Kangor. 2-mana 1/2 with Divine Shield, Lifesteal. And your healing is doubled. I don't really understand this card. I don't know what the point of it is. It looks like a mech. Not a mech. If it was a mech, it would be so much better because you could buff it. Like, if this was a mech, I would totally understand it. But as of right now, I don't even understand it. I mean, the only thing I can think of is it'd be too strong as a mech because you can buff it with spells and the magnetic cards. Maybe that's why they didn't make it a mech. But it's like, so you're gonna play in like Quest Paladin maybe. I mean, a decent turn is turn 2. I mean, well, not turn 2. On turn 10, you play Crystal Smith Kangor, and you play Lay of Hands, top of that, healing for 16, drawing 3 cards. Maybe that's like what it's for, but other than that, I mean, I think it's pretty trashy. The only reason why it has any value is because of the healing is doubled. If it didn't have that text, this card would be like just disenchant it. I don't even know. I'm just saying it's a 3-star card because mainly because I got to see the experimentation with that control style paladin with Lay of Hands. That's the only reason why I could see this being utilized. If not, I mean, I don't even think it'll be played. So yeah. Then next we got Glowstone Technician. So it's 6 mana, 3/4. Give all minions in your hand +2/+2. I don't know. I think the stats are just way too weak for it personally. I do like the hand buffing, obviously. I think hand buffing is always pretty powerful because the more minions that you're able to buff, the better obviously a card is, and there's a lot of potential for buffing because I feel like Paladin plays a decent amount of minions, and you can play a slower kind of, I guess, control style, but this is just, it's 6 mana, and if you're playing like an aggressive style, it's way too slow, way too weak. I don't even know. I don't really know where it'd be played. I don't think it's good that much at all. I just think it's meh. I'm not gonna fully say it's trash right now, just because. I mean, +2/+2 to all minions is actually a decent card text if you're able to get it off on enough minions, but I just think it's such a slow turn, and I think that it's so late game that you're not really going to have a ton of cards in hand. I mean, yes, I guess Paladin does have one of the best drawing mechanics with Divine Favor, but I guess we'll see. For now, I'm saying 2 stars, though. It could go up, it could go down. It could go down to the point where I'm like, just disenchant it, but we'll see. Then we got Prismatic Lens. 4 mana spell, draw a minion and a spell from your deck, and swap their cost. So I just think this is such a meme card personally. I don't think that there's really, it's too, put it this way, I feel you'd feel bad if you, so it feels awesome. You get Tyrion on, so you play this in turn 4, and then let's say you swap your Noble Sacrifice and your Tyrion, right? Now, Tyrion is 1 cost and Noble Sacrifice is cost at 8. It's amazing. The only negative thing, though, is now you got a card sitting in your hand that's 8 mana that you'll never want to play. I mean, you're never going to play that Noble Sacrifice. It's just sit in your hand. Maybe there's something else. I do think it is powerful. It is nice to get that swap and be able to get something that's very good and powerful that, hey, you can, play, you can cheat something out a little quicker. But I just think it's such a meme card. I don't think it's really to be played more than just for fun. So that's that. Is centered here. We could look at Shrink Ray. Can I do it? Yes, I can. 5 mana spell, and set the attack and health of all minions to 1. So it's kind of like another, equality. I think it's not bad actually. Good little board, like neutralizer. I said that very weird. Neutralizer. And the other nice thing though is, as you can see here on the right, you got the egg, and hey, an egg's got attack now. You can trade in something and get the egg to hatch. So there's some few chances I think with the like an egg deck for Paladin, but I think it's 3 stars. I think there's an experimentation. It could be utilized as like a one-of or something within a control style Paladin. I think that's mainly where it'd be played. I just think equality is better than it, though, because it's cheaper, and usually you're playing in quality to completely wipe the board. I think this is what the same thing would be here for this too. So 3 stars, experimentation. We'll see if it ends up fitting into a control style deck. Then we got Annoyal Module. 4 mana, 2/4 mech with Magnetic, Divine Shield, and Taunt. I can't wait to hear this guy's voice line, because it's probably going to be very similar to... I don't know. I haven't looked like the data mined stuff. I'm sure we know what it says. For some reason, looking at it, I think it's gonna say something like howdy. Like howdy, 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 instead of hello, hello, hello. I don't know why I think that, but I think it's a decent card. I think that there's definitely potential for it, because I think there's potential for this mech style paladin. So you've got obviously this egg over here, Mechano egg, to the right of us, and buffing that up with this guy, giving it taunt and divine shield, makes it a little more, you know, scary to deal with, as it's going to have a lot of stats. And obviously you got Kangor's Endless Army that can resurrect a bunch of guys, and you throw anything that's got divine shield and taunt is very annoying. So you throw that down, you get a little, you know, you get 2 of them to resurrect, and hey, it's going to be very annoying for them to get through. So I think there's potential. 3-star card, some experimentation. I think it's a good solid card. So very annoying. Next we got Christology. 2 mana spell, draw 2 1-attack minions from your deck. So I don't know. For myself, I don't think this card is that great. We have seen similar cards to this before, drawing the 1-attack minions from your deck. Actually, I think it was 1 mana. It was 1 mana minions. Yeah, I think that's what it was. But anyways, I mean, there's some potential. I mean, it's 2 mana, draw 2 kind of thing. But I mean, right off the top of my head, like, just kind of what I have thought out is like the Crystal Smith, the Kangor. He's a 1 mana card you can draw from it. There's Righteous Protector and Argent Square. So for myself, it's like, yeah, those are cards that could be seen play. I don't really know of much of else that would be seen play that's got 1 attack. Maybe there's a new mech. Maybe that would be it. 2 mana. It's like a 2 mana 1/5 guy. That could maybe, or even there's a new one in Paladin that we'll see in a minute. But other than that, I'm not 100% sold on it. I think that you would just rather play like Divine Favor or something else than this card. So for myself, it just gets like 2 cards, just a mech card. Then, so we're getting a Mechano Egg now finally, and 5 mana 0/5 mech with Death Rattle summon an 8/8 Robosaur. So this here's the thing. Any egg mechanic within Hearthstone has always been very powerful. After a while, anything that has Death Rattle summon a powerful minion is good, because what it does is it kind of deters your opponent from playing like a board clear. So say if you build up a large board of small minions, you got that egg down right in the middle of it, they kind of don't want to play Hellfire or something to clear off the board or something, because man, that, you know, pop the egg, you got a 4/4 minion down there, you cleared off your board too or something. So it's always nice to play these egg guys. They're very annoying, very sticky, and this is, I think, about as good. Obviously a lot harder to kill because it's got the 5 buff, because it's a mech. And in Paladin, man, you got a lot of buffing spells. You got these magnetic guys you can buff up, and you can attack too. So a lot of potential for it. I'm gonna go out and say it's a 4-star card. I mean, you got a lot of versatility with it being played within like even Quest Paladin too. So very excited about it. I love Quest Paladin. Paladin, as we all know, I say it every time, my favorite class to play. So yeah. And our final 2, we got Auto Defense Matrix, a new secret for Paladin, 1 mana. Obviously, when one of your minions is attacked, give it Divine Shield. So I think it's not bad for the secret package. Good effect, but the problem is I feel like a lot of minions that Paladin plays are the Divine Shield minions. So you're not going to want to have Divine Shield if you play this guy, because then you're just wasting the card completely if it's got Divine Shield already. So I think it's okay. It's like, this is one of the ones that's in between slots. It's like 2.5. I could see it being like 3, because as usual, I never really want to underestimate a secret, because man, secrets are some of the most annoying things ever. Even Paladin secrets were considered at one point the absolute worst things ever. Why would you ever play? And then Mysterious Challenger came along and freaking crushed us. So yeah, I'm not gonna leave this guy out of here. So we'll be safe and say 3 stars for now. Experimentation could drop to 2. And then finally, Glowtron, 1 mana, 1/3 mech with magnetic. And I think the card's just solid. If you learn anything from Hearthstone, any 1 mana card that's 1/3 stat line is just a good card. It's a solid, solid stat line for it. It's able to, fight off the weaker 1 mana cards and stay alive. So, and plus it has a little bit of the flexibility of being magnetic too, so you can buff up something. Yeah. I mean, I think it's actually pretty good. I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to think of what like a 1/3 buff would be worth about. And it's actually worth a decent amount if you think about it. Because it's probably about worth 1.5 mana. Close to 2, because Echo, that Sound the Bell, I think it's Sound the Bells or something, is a 1/2 with Echo. But then there's also the 1 mana spell that was 1/2 that, you buffed your guy for 1 attack, 2 health. I don't remember the name of it, but that was not bad either. So I think this is actually a pretty good, I think it's actually like a 4-star card, because it has that versatility too, which just makes it great. So Paladin, kind of similarly to Hunter to me, is right around that pretty balanced range. I think if I were to choose between the two, I think Paladin is higher than Hunter. And it doesn't even touch Druid. So, yeah, I think so far we've got our lineup as we're about halfway. We've just finished 4 of them out of the 9. I think I would say it's Druid, Mage, Paladin, Hunter right now. And, yeah, I do like where Paladin's sitting though. I like the cards that it's got because I love the egg mechanic. I love the Mechano egg. I'm going to be playing around with that a lot also. So, time to move to Priest. So, I'm not a huge fan of Priest personally, but I do like some of the cards that we got here in this expansion. Sorry about that. So much for me not cutting anything because I had to go do something quick. But, so let's talk about Priest now. So we got Xerx's Cloning Gallery, a 9 mana spell, summoning a 1/1 copy of each minion in your deck. So I personally am not a big fan of this. I don't know. To me, I just think that it's a little too late game. I've never been a big fan of these summon 1/1 copies of minions, and I just think that it's too much. You're going to want to specifically only have a few minions in your deck if you're doing this. So, because you're going to want this powerful Death Rattles, powerful end of turn cards. So you're looking at Obsidian Statues, Lich King, Ysera, and even if you have just those cards and you pull them all out, I mean, it is powerful, but the negative thing is it's 9 mana, so potentially you're going to draw the cards before, and then it's not in your deck, and then you're kind of screwed over because you're not able to get those powerful cards that you want. So I personally don't really like the card that much. I'm not going to completely say that it's horrible though, even though I'd love to. So I think it's experimentation kind of card. I think that a lot of these cards, obviously, you need to experiment with yourself, for yourself, before you can actually 100% say, hey, it's not going to be good at all. I usually feel like I could, judging the card myself, I feel like it's not powerful. I think it's more of like a meme card, but I don't want to rule it out because of how powerful the Lich King, obviously, and Obsidian Statues effects are. So it's the only reason why I'm not, but yeah. So next we got I don't know if I said it. It's 3 stars for myself. So then next we've got Xerx, the Master Cloner. So 6 mana, 5/5 Death Rattle. If you cast any spells on this minion, you resummon it. So basically, I actually like this card. So I originally first thought about it, and I'm like, I don't think I like it that much. There's not a lot of spells that Priest has to be utilized for this card to be super effective. And then I started thinking about it, I'm like, but if you keep the card around, so you play him, say you play on turn 7, you play this, and you play Power Word Shield on it, right? So then they have a 5, a 5/7 they have to kill. And then it comes back as 5/5, and they got to kill that also on top of that. But if you don't, then you got the card over to the right, Power Word Replicate. And then you've got 2 of these guys, and I'm pretty sure both of them will come back if you kill both of them, because it's a copy of the 5/5 that just was targeted with a spell. So, and there's a couple other cards that have potential for it, so I think there's a lot of potential for the card. So I'm actually going to go out and say this is a 4-star card. I think it's so sticky, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm not a huge fan of Priest. I've said this before and stuff, but I think that there's a definite chance for this to be powerful with the small, cheaper buff cards that it has. And then Power Replicate, obviously it's not cheap, but having a copy of it the same exact body is pretty powerful. So I'm gonna say 4 stars. Then Reckless Experimenter, 5 mana, 4/6 Death Rattle minions you play cost 3 less, but die at the end of the turn. Yeah. So it's only really useful for like super powerful Death Rattles when it dies, because obviously if the minion just dies outright, there's no point of even really playing anything. I don't know. I don't really like the card. I have actually a very hard time judging this card. I'm gonna just say, oh, never mind. It's not a Death Rattle effect. It's Death Rattle minions that you play cost 3 less, but die at the end of the turn. It's not just that when it dies, all the rest. I still don't really like it that much, though. So, sorry. For some reason, I thought that it was a Death Rattle. I didn't realize it was Death Rattle minions. So, I still don't really like it. I mean, the only stuff that comes to mind is there's like a new Mechanical Whelp style card that summons kind of like an egg. It's like Skellymancer, basically, if you think about it. That summons a powerful guy. There's the obviously Devil Solar Egg that can be played. Stuff top of my head, stuff like that. So I don't know though. To me, is that worth playing this card? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's like a 2-star card personally, but we'll see. And then we got Power to Replicate, 5 mana spell, choose a friendly minion, summon a 5/5 copy. We already talked about it a little bit with Zerk the Master Cloner. And so it's only a 3-star card in my opinion because of experimentation. Because if it wasn't for Zerk the Master Cloner, I think the card's pretty much trash because there's better cards than this already out there. So yeah, so just 3 stars for now, for only because of that one card. The reality is it's probably like, here's the thing, because of Zerk it's like a 3-star card. That's what I'm saying. But then if it wasn't for Zerk, it's like a 1.5-star card. Like, it's pretty close to just being like Disenchanted. It's not even worth it to me. So I don't know. That's just me. Now we got Omega Medic. So this is the first Omega card that we see in the set. There's a few of them. And basically what they are is when you have 10 mana crystals, it does a certain effect. So as you see here, a 3 mana 3/4, and Battle Cry, if you have 10 mana crystals, you restore 10 health. So very powerful, obviously. 10, restoring 10 on a 3/4 body at 10 mana is solid, but even if you don't play, say if you don't play it on 10, you just play on turn 3 or on a curve, I mean, it's not bad. 3 mana 3/4 is pretty solid. That's what you look for. I like the card. I think that it's it's a 4-star card. It's got good stats, good text. Not bad at all. Definitely will be seen playing Priest, I think. Next up, we got Extra Arms. 3 mana spell, give a minion +2 arms, and you add more arms to your hand that gives +2/+2. But basically, it's a decent card. I kind of like it. It's a cool little flavor. Cute card. But Do I think it's gonna be that great? I don't. I think it's kind of more of a meme card. I think it's works with a Xeric guy. I said Zeke. Xeric and the test subject guy we're seeing over here. And yeah, I mean there's potential for it, but I think it's really just a meme card. 3 mana 2/2 buff isn't the greatest, even if you're adding another one to your hand. So yeah, just meh. Next we got test subject. 1 mana 0/2 death rattle. Return any spell you cast on this minion to your hand. So it's kind of like the priest version of Primal Fin Champion, if you think about it, which was the Paladin's 2 mana 1/2 guy that had the exact same text basically. And I don't know, I mean, I think there's potential for the guy. I think that it's a little worse than Primal Fin personally, just because I think that priests, their buffing spells are a little worse, but I do like it. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's like a 3-star card. I think that there's potential for it, but I don't think it's like super overpowered. There's like, I guess there's some like Divine Spirit and or fire combos maybe that are potentially good, but I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna say 3 stars for now. Then we got Dead Ringer, 2 mana 2/1 mech with Death Rattle. Draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck. So obviously very reminiscent of Loot Hoarder, and but it draws specifically a Death Rattle minion, so maybe a little bit better than Loot Hoarder, which makes sense. It's a pretty specific card, and it's a mech, so I like it. You know, Loot Hoarder does see a decent amount of play too. I mean, and I think it's like a 4-star card. I think it's a good chance that you'll see it a lot. Finally, we got our last 2 guys. I don't know why I'm struggling so much today to get it. But we got Cloning Device. 2 mana spell, discover a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck. I just think this is such a meme card to me. It's kind of like a random priest. There's like that random style priest that's in Wild that is played for fun a lot. And I think it fits perfectly into that, but I don't think I'll see play any other than that at all. Usually you want to have specific cards in your deck. That's why you don't see a lot of like the mind vision type style cards being played, because you just rather have cards that you actually want in your deck than random cards from your opponent's deck, because a lot of construct is based on synergy. So yeah. And then we finally got Topsy Turvy. 0 mana spell, swap a minion's attack and health. So I think that there's definitely some possibilities with it because of the mana cost specifically. So I mean, 0 cost spell by itself makes it very, very good, and because of that, there's gonna be experimentation. So you got Lyra obviously, and just getting a random card by itself is good. And I've heard of something that there may be some specific combo or something with test subject. I don't even know. I think Trump was saying something about it. I really have no idea though. He was kind of rambling a bit. So anyways, where do I think Rogue, where do I think Priest stands? I said Rogue because it's the next class. I think it's okay. I think it's on the weaker end so far. So I think it's between right now, as I said before, where the standing was. I think it's between Paladin and Hunter. So I think it's below Paladin there. Not as good, but it's I think it's still decently balanced, to be honest. So excited. So far, I think the expansion, other than Druid, is pretty balanced. Next up, we got Myra Rot Spring, moving into Rogue here, and it's 5 mana 4/2. We don't really like the stat line, but it has a battle cry where you discover a Death Rattle minion, and then you also gain its Death Rattle onto this minion. So there is some good value to be had here. I like it. I actually do like it. I think the stats are a little weak. I kind of wish it was a little bit different. But yeah, I think just because of that, I think there's gonna be experimentation with it. I'm not sure how powerful it will be, but definitely experimentation for it. 3 stars. Then we got Myra's Unstable Element. 5 mana spell, draw the rest of your deck. And man, I think this card has a lot of potential. So you're obviously looking at drawing every card going down to 0. There's a lot of different cards, so because of it, there's a lot of like the there's like, you know, shuffling minions or cards back into your deck, which makes it, I think, really a unique card. But on top of that, I'm mainly thinking about this aggressive style rogue, which is kind of what's scary to me. I mean, you get a very, very aggressive minion-based rogue, and you just keep pummeling their face, and then you just draw like 9 cards on turn 5 or something. Man, I mean, it could be brutal. You might see some pretty aggressive rogues coming out of this expansion. So I think this card is like pretty close to 5 stars. I'm still not giving it another 5-star right now. So it's like another one of those 4.5s, but very, very good card here. We got Necrium Vial, 5 mana. Spell triggers a friendly minion's death rattle twice. So basically, I like it, but I don't think there's too many. I don't know. I personally am not a big fan of this like death rattle style of rogue. I mean, might be missing out on some stuff off the top of my head that I'm just not thinking about. But Maya Rot Spring is like the huge like death rattle that comes to my mind, like this expansion. And then other ones, I mean, like, yeah, there's definitely other cards, but I just think that, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of it is all, I guess. So, I'm not going to rule it out because it is a pretty powerful effect because there are some very, very good death rattles. So, I'm going to say it's a 3-star card for experimentation for now. Then we got Academic Espionage. So 4 mana spell, shuffle 10 cards from your opponent's class into your deck, and they cost 1 mana. So this card's very, very good with Myra's Unstable Elements. Basically playing any card overall, I think the cards are obviously going to be a lot more powerful than 1 mana, so it makes it, you know, a good solid card. I think it's a good card. I do think it's a little memey, but I think it's a good card. So it's like in between 2.5, 3 range, but I'm thinking more of the 3 range just because I think it is good. So yeah, we'll just go with 3. Then we've got Blight Nozzle Crawler, 4 mana, 2/4 mech with Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 ooze with Poisonous and Rush. I think this card's pretty much trash. So the reason is it's a death rattle. If it was a battle cry, it would be a lot better because then you could trade into something. But because it's a death rattle, they're gonna kill your. This is probably what's gonna happen. Turn 4. Look at the stats first of all. 4 mana, 2/4. It's terrible. And then you play it, and then they're gonna kill the Blight Nozzle Crawler on their turn. And then they could just freaking ping off the little 1/1 guy. I mean, if the 1/1 ooze was 1/2 instead, there'd be like a little more potential. But man, this card is just trash. Like, probably one of the worst cards so far. Then we got Necrium Blade. 3 mana, 3/2. Death Rattle. Trigger the death rattle of a random friendly minion. So, Fire War Axe, but with text. So, it's obviously at minimum a good card. And I'm going to be honest, it's probably one of the better rogue cards, I think. So I think it's actually a 4-star card. I mean, people play Fire War Axe, and 3 mana, 3/2 is good. So, and triggering death rattles is very powerful also. So, yeah, definitely thinking 4 stars here. Then we got Pogo Hopper. It's a cute little guy. I like this card a lot. Like, probably the cute card of the set, I would say. And 2 mana, 1/1 gain +2/+2 for each other Pogo Hopper you played this game. So obviously, in Wild, Gang Up is the key here. But there's also Lab Recruiter, which we'll be getting to in a little bit, which is I guess they call it Gang Up with legs. So very gonna be a very fun card. A lot of you know, basically you might even play, like, not saying you're gonna play it because you would ruin the card by itself, but you could play something similar to a style of Quest Rogue because of the constant cycling of cards, of playing the same card over and over again. You're looking at like Shadow Step, the Lab Recruiter, you know, just getting multiple versions of the cards. cheat death, I believe, is a secret that gives your when it dies, it comes back. You get it again. So there's definitely a lot of potential for it. How good is it though? Not sure. Thinking it's definitely an experimentation card, because I'm not sure how fast you could snowball the card by itself. As I think you're going to be kind of building around the card. So I think the whole entire deck's going to be built around Pogo Hopper if you do build around it. So we will see how good it does. I got Crazed Chemist, 5 and 4/4 combo. Give a friendly minion +4 attack. It's not bad, but it's not great. Kind of falling in the meh category, personally. So, I mean, 4/4 body is closer to 4 mana, and then combo effect is kind of like playing. I cannot think that card right now. The 1 mana spell that combos and you get +4 attack. I don't know why I can't think of it, but it just reminds me of that. So I think it's like actually kind of balanced. I'll be honest, this is just meh to me. I don't think it's gonna be seen playing much at all. Finally, got Violet Haze, 3 mana spell, adds 2 random death rattle cards to your hand. It's okay, but I don't think that there's much play for it. So I think it's just meh. Not too much. Then Lab Recruiter, 2 mana, 3/2. This is the Gang Up with Legs. Velcro, shuffle 3 copies of a friendly minion into your deck. I actually think that you want to play this card on the Pogo Hopper after you play Myra's Unstable Element, because you're going to want to be able to consistently draw the Pogo Hoppers. And yeah, I think this card's pretty cool. So similarly to Pogo Hopper, it's 3 stars because this card's very, very much in the vein of how well Pogo Hopper does. The Rogue, I think, does okay. I actually think that Rogue is above Paladin in power level for the expansion. So I think that, yeah, I think you're going to be seeing some Rogue play there too. And then next we got Shaman. I'm trying to go a little faster here. I didn't realize. I think I'm taking a long time. And kind of want to get going here because it's getting late and I need lunch. So we got Shaman, Warlock, Warrior, and the neutral cards. We gotta get rolling here. So we got the Stormbreaker, 7 mana spell. Transfer your minions into random legendary minions. So the only way you see this card being played is meme decks, and you're gonna want to play it after when you have like those low costs. Like say you got Firefly in your hand, in a bunch of like 1 mana cards that aren't going to do anything. This is your chance to redeem it and make it into a better card. It's the only way it's going to be played, so it's just a straight up meme card. You already know this. So. Electra Storm Surge, 3 mana, 3/3 elemental battlecry. Your next spell this turn cast twice. This card is awesome. I actually think it has a lot of versatility because you could do something like double your healing effects. You could double, obviously Lava Burst, damage to the face or anything. Or you can just, double area effects, so Lightning Storm. There's a lot there. Double Bloodlust. I like it. I think it's a great card. So 4 stars for sure. Thunderhead, 4 mana, 3/5 elemental. After you play a card with Overload, summon 2 1/1 sparks with Rush. So I think I'm underestimating this card a lot, and I'm still going to give it the same rating that I believe I'm going to give it. And I believe it's actually better, though, than what I think. I think it's probably a 4-star card from what everybody's telling about the card. Everybody's kind of expecting this to be very powerful. And I'm not saying, like, super crazy powerful, but, like, they're thinking it's a pretty good card. Like, very, very good. And I don't really know if it is 100%, but, yeah, I think it's good. But I'm not 100% sold on it, I guess. So I say it's 3 stars. I think it's good, but I don't think it's like great, or I think most people think it's on the great scale of it. Next, we got Omega Mind, 2 mana, 2/3 battlecry. If you have 10 mana crystals, your spells have lifesteal this turn. Another similar Omega card. Very powerful card, obviously, because 2 mana, 2/3 good body, and then it has a good text. So it's a 4-star card to me. Obviously, playing Lightning Storm with it, being able to heal a ton is great. Volcano, Lava Burst, basically anything. I mean, it's a good card. And we've got here Eureka! 6 mana card. Summon a random copy of a random minion. Jeez. Summon a copy of a random minion from your hand. So this is very similar to, there is Ancestral's Call, which was a 4 mana card, but it pulled one of your opponent's minions also. So this is in the vein of kind of like that whole, it's cheating out card early. Obviously, you're going to want to cheat out something like Malygos or Lich King. I think it's a little too expensive to be played in the Malygos style deck because you don't have a lot of mana, obviously, to play your spells and stuff. So I kind of am thinking it's more of like a 2-star card because I just think it's a little too expensive. If it was like 5 mana, there'd be a little bit more potential. But obviously, the lower it is, the better it is for these combo decks. Next, we got Storm Chaser, 4 mana, 3/5 elemental, and you draw a spell from your deck that costs 5 or more. I don't know why I just completely skipped over Battlecry, but I did. I think the card's good. I think it's actually very good in like a token style deck because I think you want to specifically draw Bloodlust. So yeah, I like the card a lot. I think that, you know, this token style deck could be played, so I think that it's a 4-star card for sure. Then Voltaic Burst, 1 mana spell, summon 2 1/1 sparks with Rush and Overload. So there's potential for this card. It's I personally am not a big fan of it, as I don't like the fact that it's got Overload. Obviously, Paladin already has. I mean, Hunter had Alley Cat, which is, you know, having 2 1/1s. Then Paladin had a spell that made 2 1/1 recruits. Now we got this. Obviously, the upside of it is that they have Rush. The downside of it's Overload. You're not going to want to play it on 1 mana though, because then the next turn you only have 1 mana, and you're not going to really want to, you know, there's nothing really to rush into. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. Maybe with the Thunderhead guy, you can get like Force 1/1 Spark guys. Utilize it with Cult Master to get some drawing mechanics. And there's some definite potential, but I'm not 100% sold, so I'm kind of meh with it, so 2 stars. Menacing Nimbus, 2 mana, 2/2 elemental Battlecry, add a random elemental to your hand. Obviously, Elemental Shaman's always been pretty solid, and they got a lot of elementals here, and I think it's not going away. I think it's pretty solid here, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Tortolan Forager. Tortolan Forager. So Druid had that card, and that's not terrible, but this is definitely better than Tortolan Forager. So I think it's pretty good. It's like 3.5, but I'm definitely saying 3 for good. It's not like experimentation. I think it's just straight up good. Finally, our last 2, we got Elementary Reaction, 2 mana spell, draw a card, copy it if you played an elemental last turn. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good card, definitely. I don't think it's like amazing. This is like one of the ones in between. It's like 2.5, so cause I think it's like meh, but it's decent card draw. So I'm just gonna say 2 for now. So because it's like it's okay in Elemental Shaman, but it's not like super amazing. Yeah. And then there's Beaker Lightning, 0 mana, deal 1 damage to all minions, and Overload for 2. Yeah, it's nice. It's an area effect, very cheap area effect, but it's just too much Overload for me. Overload mechanics are very tough to, I feel like, balance, and they almost are a hard sell for myself, because you play a card cheap for that turn, but then you almost pay over. I mean, some cards you don't, but I feel like for like this card, you're paying too much, because I mean, Shaman had basically this card that was 2 mana, but you also got a 1-drop with it. So I just think it's a mech card too. So what do I think about Shaman overall? I think it's pretty solid. I think it's balanced, to be honest. I think the best card for it is obviously Electra Storm Surge, and I think I think that card with Storm Chaser and Menacing Nimbus are, I think those are like the 3 cards that you're really going to be looking out for within the Shaman set. But That's about it. And I could be wrong because obviously a lot of people are liking Thunderhead. So we'll see. So I'm not really sure where it lands. I'm kind of thinking it's like, as I haven't played in a while, so I don't really know what decks are being played, what are the best ones, and I think it's a little bit worse than Paladin right now. So yeah, but all right, let's move to Warlock here. I'm really wanting to get going here. Dr. Morgan, 8-mana 5/5 Death Rattle. Swap this with a minion from your deck. I don't like it. Very memey. Very, it's like Cruel Dinomancer. It kind of reminds me of that. Don't like it that much. But, yeah. I know there's potentials to make it infinite, but I don't even know if infinite's the right word, because once you draw the card, it's not infinite really anymore. So, yeah, I don't like it. It's too expensive to me. It's definitely like, put it this way, I think it's a meme card, because people are going to try to do that, like, make it kind of infinite or whatever. But realistically, I think it's trash. Then the Solarium, so 1 mana, draw 3 cards at the end of your turn, discard them. This card is insane power level. Let me tell you, this is a 5-star card, because drawing 3 cards, and then even if you discard them, it doesn't matter what the hell they were. Doesn't matter what happened to them. You drew them, you have the potential to play them. So, I mean, you could play it with the discard Warlock, and that's good. You could play with, you know, I think it's mainly going to be played in aggro and discard Warlock if you do. So yeah, definitely love the card. 5 stars for sure. Sorry, had a text message glitch. So then Ectomancy, 6 mana spell, summon the copies of all demons you control. Cute card, but nah, 2 stars for sure. Just don't think it's reliable enough. So I do think that there's potential for this like demon style deck though. Omega Agent, here we go again. So once again, the Mega style cards. 5 mana, 4/5. If you have 10 mana crystals, summon 2 copies of this minion. It's a little too weak, but man, that battle cry is awesome. Even if you don't buff it at all, because you're gonna see there are some buffing mechanics within Warlock now for your hand. But yeah, I like the card. I think this is one of the weaker Omega cards. So it probably is actually. So here's the thing. I think most of the Omega cards can be played straight up. Just you could play on curve. So, and you know, because it's just a decent stat line. This is the first one that's like, don't know if you're really gonna want to play this on curve because it's just too weak. So you're gonna want to wait till that 10 mana card cost. So, but man, when you have that 10 mana, it might be one of the most powerful ones that you have. So to me, it's a 3-star one, because I'm just not sure how great it's going to be to wait the entire time to 10 mana for it. Then we're moving to Nether Soulbuster. Let me tell you something. I don't know. This card is so powerful to me. There's just it's easily a 3 mana 5/5, and it's a demon. You gain +1 attack for each damage your hero has taken. Oh, this turn. I thought overall. Oh, okay. That balanced the card out a lot more. I thought the card was like crazy. I was like, holy shit, this card's nuts. Okay, that makes the card a lot better. So it's still good though. I mean, there's a card. It's a 1 mana card. We're gonna get to it. It's a neutral card. It deals 1 damage to your hero. I mean, it's 1 mana, deal 5 damage, and you gain 5 armor. So technically, you don't even take anything. That card is basically printed for freaking Warlock. And then you play that with this card, and you got a 5/5. I mean, you got a 6/5 right there. So yeah, there's a lot of potential for this card. It definitely bumped. I thought the card was like 5, but it bumped the card down, so it's like a 3.54 now. I think it's good. Now that you have to do it for that turn, it's a lot more balanced. So yeah. So we got Void Analyst, 2 mana, 2/2 demon, Death Rattle. Give all demons in your hand +1/+1. So I think that there is a chance for it, because there's obviously a lot of demon synergy for this expansion here. They're kind of pushing, but I think that Prince Keleseth is just kind of like a better version of this card. But the positive thing is that you could play like Vulgar Homunculus or whatever cards, which is a pretty good card. And yeah, so I don't know. I think the card's just good. So we're gonna have to see with experimentation for it. Next, we got Soul Infusion. 1 mana, give the leftmost minion in your hand +2/+2. I actually like the card. I kind of like the idea of this whole buffing cards in your hand for Warlock. It seems pretty cool. So Serenite Chain Gang, obviously. Doubling Imp, which is to the right there. You've got Omega Agent also. There's a couple cards they got for this, potentially. So I'm kind of excited for it. So I just think it's experimentation, though. I mean, we haven't really seen any of this hand buffing at all since then, so... Alright, so I had to start it over again because I'm just getting calls and stuff, but it's not surprising because the stuff that's going on in my life, but it's okay. So just do a little editing for the review. But so I believe I just finished off with Soul Infusion, so we're going into Doubling Imp. So it's a 3 mana 2/2 demon. Battlecry, summon a copy of this minion. So I only really like this with the Soul Infusion. I don't really care too much for Void Analyst as much as I like Soul Infusion, but it can be very powerful, obviously. And in terms of like stats by itself, I mean, it is basically a 3 mana 4/4, just split between 2 bodies. So I do like it, but I'm not 100% sold. I think that I'm kind of thinking that Mech Warlock is going to be a little bit better than Demon Warlock, but I do think Demon Warlock is going to be a lot of fun. I do, as I said, like Soul Infusion with Omega Agent better than Doubling Imp, which is why Doubling Imp, I'm thinking, it's like in between the 2.5, 3.5, like 2.5 range, so it's like 2, 3. I'm going to say it's 3 for experimentation because I really want to try out this Demon hand buffing Warlock, basically. So we're on the last 2. Demonic Project, 2 mana spell. Each player transforms a random minion in their hand into a demon. So, I mean, it's a simple card. It's literally just a meme card. It's straight up just 2 stars because of the fact that all you're doing is you're messing with your opponent. I mean, realistically, I don't think you're gonna want random cards. And messing with your opponents, yes, that could be pretty cool. Messing with them if they have, if they have specific only a few minions or something, and you think they might have it in their hand or something. But I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be played much at all. And then finally, Spirit Bomb, 2 mana spell, deal 4 damage to a minion and your hero. So I'm kind of not 100% sold on this card. I think I'm like in the middle. I feel like some people might look at it as good. Some people might look at it as not so good. But I'm like in the middle. I think it's okay because it's like a little bit of a better Shadow Bolt because, Warlocks don't really mind taking some damage, but 4 damage is a decent amount of damage. And you're only dealing 4 damage to a minion. So, I mean, Flame Imp, you get a 3/2 body for 1 mana, dealing 3 damage to yourself, so I'm thinking it's like a 3-star card for some experimentation. It might be a little too much damage to be taken. But overall, I kind of like where Warlock is. I'm not a huge fan of where it went because they're kind of pushing that demon stuff. I think it could be fun with the hand buffing, but I think my favorite card by far is Omega Agent, even though they do have one of the best cards in this set, which is the Solarium. And yeah, I mean, that might be what pulls them out ahead of the rest of the, I'm thinking it's like 3rd best right now. I'm thinking it's going for top 3 Druid, Mage, Warlock. And Mage and Warlock are like neck and neck, so either one of those are interchangeable. So now we're going into Warrior, final class to review. So we got the Boom Ship, 9 mana spell, summon 3 random minions from your hand and give them Rush. So I think it's a little expensive, but I do think there's potential in a big warrior. So what you're going to do is play a lot of small spells, a lot of stuff to control the board with, and then later on in the game, you're hoping that obviously you're able to draw these cards. you have cards. I keep using the same examples of like the Lich King and stuff, but you know, you want those large, powerful minions, I'm thinking. Because you're not going to want to pull out like some terrible little 4-drop or something like that, 3-drop for your 9 mana. It's just my opinion, but we'll see. So I'm thinking experimentation for sure. I'm not 100% sold on it. Now, Dr. Boom Mad Genius, 7 mana hero. So the battle cry: for the rest of the game, your mechs have rush. A very powerful effect. And then on top of that, so I'm actually going to have to go into a new tab to pull it up, because it has different hero powers. So you're going to see it. The one's getting a little cut off, but you can read it at least. So you got every turn it swaps. So you have a hero power where you summon 3 1/1 microbots, which they're all have rush too, which is a thing to remember, which is actually very powerful. Then deal 3 damage, and so that's very powerful too. Discover a mech, gain 7 armor, and deal 1 damage to all enemies. Swap. So all of the hero powers are actually very useful. I think probably one of the weakest ones would be discovering a mech, but it actually might not be. Maybe it's Kaboom, dealing 1 damage to all of the board. So yeah, I think Dr. Boom Mad Genius is awesome. So personally, I'm thinking that it's a very fun card. I'm not sure how Mech Warrior is going to end up being, but I think just this hero, just the hero itself, might be worth playing, even in any type of deck. So I think it's a 4-star card for sure. Now we're going to Beryllium Nullifier. 7 mana 3/8 mech with magnetic and can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. So I think the downfall of this card is that it's so expensive, and that you really want this card to be attached to another card that has taunt. So realistically, I don't believe that this is a card you want to play by itself. You want to attach this, so it's kind of like a 7 mana buff, and I just don't think it's really that good. I mean, it's going to be super annoying if it is buffed like onto a taunt minion, but by itself, I'm thinking it's like a 2-star card. It's just kind of meh. Next, we got Super Collider. 5 mana 1/3 weapon. After you attack a minion, force it to attack one of its neighbors. So I'm not 100% sure with this card. I don't really see this being played that much. I don't think that people really want to play something where there's a lot of these cards where it's got 1 attack, and it's got some super powerful text, but it doesn't get scene play. I mean, Shaman had one where that just straight up killed any minion that had, was frozen. Obviously, I think that's a lot worse than Super Collider, but I don't see this being played at all. I think it's a 1-star card. I don't think you'll ever see this being played in Constructed, to be honest. Other than maybe like the first week, if that. Next, we got Security Rover. 6 mana 2/5 mech. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 2/3 mech with taunt. So it's kind of, here's the thing. It's not a horrendous card, but it has the same stat line as Axe Flinger. Axe Flinger was a 4 mana card. Now I understand that the text itself is so much better than Axe Flingers, and it's a mech. But it's like, I don't know. I just don't see it being played. I mean, Hogger doesn't get seen played either, and I don't know. I personally am not a big fan of it. I think it's like, if you see this card be played other than like the first week, I'd be amazed. So I'm gonna say it's like a 1-star card too, which I feel like it's being kind of harsh on the Warrior so far, but it's just like those cards are very, to me, rough to see being played. Next we got Dynomatic. So 5 mana 3/4 mech, which stat-wise is not very powerful, but deal 5 damage, randomly split among all minions except mechs. So first I want to point out that in Arena, I actually think this is a very good card. But in Constructed, I mean, there is potential for it. It's, You know, I mean, if they only have like one minion out that's not a mech, you can specifically like deal 5 damage straight to it, which isn't bad. So I don't mind it. I think it's okay, but I don't believe it's good enough to even be a 3-star card. I believe it's just kind of a mech card, so it's 2 stars. I'm gonna give it. Next, we got Omega Assembly. 1 mana spell, discover a mech. If you have 10 mana crystals, keep all 3 cards. So we already talked about the Omega cards. And this is, I believe, one of the best and most versatile cards because it can be played at 1 mana. I mean, we've got the Warrior already has the 1 mana taunt, you know, discover card. But then on top of that, if you play this at 10 mana, you also get to keep all 3 cards, which is awesome. So I actually love this card. And I think it's going to be great within the Dr. Boom Mad Genius kind of style Warrior. So I'm going to say it's a 4-star card because of that. Then we have Weapons Project, 2 mana spell. Each player equips a 2/3 weapon and gains 6 armor. But I've already kind of mentioned, I'm not a big fan of giving my opponents stuff. Other than giving them cards, like for the mage card itself, I'm not a big fan of it. The only reason why I don't care too much about the mage one is because the mage one is specifically to, you know, work towards your combo. And you're getting yourself closer to it, and you're not really, like, yes, you're helping them, but I think it's, you're winning out more in it. So, to me, I'm not a huge fan of it. It is a little bit of weapon destruction. It's like, you know, it's versatile that way, and you get some health back, but, I mean, you're giving everything to your opponent, too. So, not the biggest fan of it. I think it's kind of a mech card. 2 stars for myself. And finally, our last 2 cards. We have Rocket Boots, 2 mana spell, give a minion rush, draw a card. So it's kind of like Charge, but better. It's basically how I think about it. It's a lot better than Charge. Let's be realistic. And I like it a lot for that sense. I think it's a cute card, is what I should say. It's not that I like it a lot in the sense that, like, I think it's going to be played a lot. I just think, you know, I like the art. I think it's cute, you know, whatever. You get to draw a card, get a little cycle. But in reality, I think it's kind of more of a meme card because I don't believe this is going to be seen played much at all. Because there's kind of a card in the neutral slot that is just kind of a better card for this situation. Even though you could play this on anything, not just mechs. So, for myself, I'm just going to give it 2 stars. Then, Eternum Rover. I think I'm saying that right. 1 mana, 1/3 mech, and we already know that's good. And then whenever this minion takes damage, gain 2 armor. So this card is awesome. Very, very good. Easily a 4-star card because, I mean, let's be real. A plain 1 mana, 1/3 card is good. And this has awesome text on top of that. So we're looking at a very solid card here. So definitely, we played in a lot of Warrior decks, I believe. Overall, I think Warrior ends up doing okay. Not the most powerful deck, I would say, that you're going to see. But I would be on the lookout. That Dr. Boom card is very good. And I think it's going to help carry a bit. So, I guess I could try and rank what I believe is going to be the top best to worst. So, really quickly, I'm going to just scroll through. This is kind of just off the bat here. I didn't really think I was going to do this. I do think Druid is number 1 still. I think the next one is going to end up being... I think 2 is going to be Mage. 3 is going to be... I think 3 is Rogue. I think I'm completely mixing up what I originally said, but I don't know. This is just off the top of my head. I don't even know. I didn't even have anything written down or anything about what I originally rated them. So 1 Druid, 2 Mage, 3 Rogue. I think 4 is gonna be... I'm actually thinking... Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with that. I think I said Warlock was close to Mage. I think Warlock, Rogue, and Mage are very close. I think it's definitely like... I'm thinking Druid, Mage, Rogue, Warlock. And then I'm probably going to actually say it's going to be Paladin, probably Priest, Shaman, Warrior, and Hunter is what I would guess. And that's just kind of a quick, guess of how they're going to end up ranking out just based on the cards that are from this expansion. So I know I've said it before that I'm not 100% on how the current meta is, but that's just my guess. So let's hop into the neutral here. This is definitely a longer video here. So we got Mechathune, a 10-mana 10/10 mech Death Rattle. If you have no cards in your deck, hand, and battlefield, destroy the enemy hero. It's cool. It's fun. It's straight memes right there. So 2 stars. Ziliax, 5-mana 3/2 mech with Magnetic, Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal, Rush. It's got a lot of text there, a lot of keywords. I actually do like this card. I think it's a little weak. You will never play this card by itself. It's way too weak. It's definitely a buff card. And I don't think it's bad. It's definitely experimentational. It's like a 2.5 card. So I'm going to say 3 though for now. And that's just my personal opinion though. So next we got Subject 9. 5-mana 4/4 Beast. Battle card, draw 5 different secrets from your deck. This is the card I actually talked about from Hunter. And I'm going to be honest, this card is one of the biggest up in the air things, I believe, because it's very hard to guess, because you've got you've got Rogue, which their secrets aren't worth it. You wouldn't play this in Rogue. Then you got Paladin. I don't believe you'd play this in Paladin with secrets either, because Paladin secrets aren't as great. You kind of want to cheat out those secrets. Then you've got Mage and Hunter, which those are great. Okay, and I think if you draw 2 cards, you got your value right there. Very good. You draw anything past 2, this card is phenomenal, and I think you easily can draw 2+ cards with this. I'm gonna be honest. I think this is a 5-star card. I think you're gonna see something come from this, like big, because it's just awesome. So, and especially in Hunter. I mean, I ranked Hunter as last because I'm not 100% sure. Their card pool didn't support at all secrets, except for they had the one Discover a Secret, which doesn't help this card at all. But this might be one of the only inclusions that you put into a secret style Hunter deck from this expansion, and it'll do great. So there's definitely potential there though. So Whizbang the Wonderful, 4-mana 4/5. You start the game with one of the Whizbang's wonderful decks, which means you just start at random. You put this card in. That's it. That's all you put in, and then you start the game, and it picks a random class and a random deck from the those, I can't remember, they're already pre-built decks within Hearthstone that you can pick from. So there's 18 of them, I believe. I don't believe they picked the classic decks at all. So yeah, I think this card is awesome. A lot of fun. If you get this card, it's great for experimentation, to play around with a lot of different cards. So for the free-to-play cheap users, if you end up pulling it, yes, it's not a powerful card, but it's a fun card, and I think that's the whole point of this game, and you have to have fun. So 2 stars, straight up a meme card obviously, but hey, we'll have fun. We got our final legendary, Harbinger Celestia. So 4-mana 5/6, which if you're reading that, you're like, oh damn, that's pretty solid there. But then you look at it and you're like, oh, and it's got stealth too, but after your opponent plays a minion, you become a copy of it. So the stats don't matter, and you're just playing nothing, pretty much. You're playing trash. It's a 1-star card. It's just straight trash. I can't see this being played at all. I don't see any use for it. Yeah, don't. Hopefully you don't get this. This is the card that you're gonna really not want to grab. Starliner, 7-mana 7/7 Battlecry. If you control 3 minions with 7 health, deal 7 damage to all enemies. Obviously, this is kind of just a fun card. It's just a meme card. It's pretty simple, straightforward.
Next we got Holomancer, 5 mana 3/3. After your opponent plays a minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. This is pretty trash. This might be one of the worst cards next to like the Harbingers list. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. It's really bad. The Thorium Bomber, 5 mana 5/5. Shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck when drawn. It explodes for 5 damage. The neutral Iron Juggernaut. Then that card was just a meme. This is just a meme too. So 2 stars. We got EMP Operative, 5 mana 3/3. Battlecry, destroy a mech. This is literally the crab of the crab of the game. This is the only there for to keep the mechs in line because there's so many of them, and obviously there's potential for it to get out of hand. So yeah, I mean it's a 3-star card because obviously you gotta, I don't know. You gotta keep them in line. It's just that. If they get crazy, you're gonna be playing this. Loose Specimen, 5 mana 6/6 beast, deals 6 damage, randomly split among other friendly minions. So the stats are very good for 5 mana. I think it's a solid card. The problem is obviously dealing damage to yourself, but there are cards that maybe, if they're on the board for yourself, that you do want to do damage to them. So Accolade of Pain, there's that's obviously a good card for it too. I'm trying to think of what the other card is. I'm gonna look. I had it written down. Oh, an Armor Smith. I don't know why I couldn't think of that one. I knew it was a warrior card. So I mainly think it's a warrior card only, almost. So I don't really see it being played anywhere else. So maybe in Hunter, because it is a beast, and if you're only playing this card by itself, it's a decent Hunter card. So it's a 5 mana 6/6 is good. But yeah, I think it's a 3-star card. It's experimentation, definitely a warrior for sure. Then we got Omega Defender, 4 mana 2/6 taunt. Battlecry, if it has 10 mana crystals, gain 10 attack. It's obviously very good at 10 mana, but other than that, I think it's a little too weak. So I'm kind of thinking it's a 2-star card just for memes and stuff. Obviously, if you can get 2 of these, 12/6 guys on the board, it's pretty crazy, but yeah. Weaponized Pinata, 4 mana 4/3 mech with Death Rattle. Add a random legendary minion to your hand. This is straight up a meme card because adding random legendaries isn't always the greatest thing. And it's like Piloted Shredder. I mean, they have like 2 of these, I believe. They're like Piloted Shredder basically with the same stat line. And you could tell how insane Piloted Shredder was back in the day because of the cards that you're going to see. So to me, it's a 2-star card. Very fun. Can't wait to play around with it. Hopefully I pull them so I can mess around with them when I'm in the mood for a little fun. Augmented Elk, 3 mana 3/4 beast. Whenever you shuffle a card into a deck, shuffle an extra copy in. So basically, this is for definitely a good card for Rogue. So I'm thinking, I think it's a little more powerful, obviously, in Wild right now because of, like having Gang Up available to you. And yeah, I think it's definitely has a lot of potential. Not sure about constructed wise right now, but there's definitely potential in the future. And obviously, I mean, Rogue does have Gang Up on Legs, which I can't think of its name right now, but you know what I'm talking about. 2 mana 3/2, shuffles 3 into your deck. So maybe we'll find a spot in the Pogo Hopper Rogue. We'll see. Crystallizer, 1 mana 1/3 Battlecry, deal 5 damage to your hero and gain 5 armor. So this is the card that I was talking about with Warlock that I think could be pretty good because it doesn't have a downside. Obviously, it works with a lot of other classes too. It's good in Priest. You can end up at 35 health. If you damage yourself, gain 5 armor, you can heal yourself back up to full. Works good in Warrior for Battle Rage and Shield Slams. So it's a good card. I like it a lot. It's 1/3 body, so it's always great. So you're definitely gonna see this card being played. So 4 stars for sure. Just like all the other 1/3s that we've seen. Arcane Dynamo, 6 mana 3/4 Battlecry, discover a spell that costs 5 or more. I think it's neat, but it's just too weak. So it's 2 stars. I'm not gonna say it's 1, but it's 2. Missile Launcher. So it's 6 mana 4/4 magnetic. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all other characters. Kind of reminds me of Despicable Dreadlord, but for mechs. So because of the mech synergy, it ends up pushing it a little higher than what I would have rated it beforehand. So I give it a 3 stars because I think it's going to be pretty good. And we got Mechanical Whelp here with 6 mana 2/2, and it's a mech obviously. Death Rattle, summon a 7/7 Mechanical Dragon. So this is yeah, this is up there with that egg and stuff. I think the card's very good. As I said before, anything that kind of deters people from doing board clears or anything, I feel like you taunt it up with Defender Vargas. There's a lot of versatility with the card. I like it. I love it. So you know, 4 stars for me. Spark Drill, 6 mana, 5/1 mech, rush, death rattle, add 2/1/1 sparks with rush to your hand. I don't see this card ever being played. It's pretty trash. So 1 star. Galing Inventor, 5 mana, 2/1 Battlecry, summon 2 1/2 mechs with taunt and divine shield. If they end up not using a Noyotron for the mechs, I'll be a little disappointed. But nonetheless, I actually like the card. I think it's very annoying. Reminds me of, I always use the example of Sludge Belcher at that annoying 5. I feel like 5 mana is that annoying taunt spot. They always seem to put that annoying guy at 5 mana. And this is no different. So I think it's not nearly as good as Sludge Belcher though. So I'm going to say it's like 3 stars. Where Sludge Belcher was like close to 5. But yeah, so. Now we got Replicating Menace. 4 mana, 3/1 mech with magnetic death rattle, summon 3 1/1 microbots. Not too bad. A little bit reminiscent of Egg Napper. I actually think Egg Napper is better because of it being a little cheaper. But at the same time, it is magnetic in a mech. So that is a perk. So maybe it's not as... I don't know. Maybe it's not as bad as I think. So I'm gonna say it's 3 stars for now because I don't think it's as bad as I was originally thinking in my head. Because I'm like, well, Egg Napper's 3 mana, 3/1, but gets you 2 guys. So, but I think the main perk of this is that it's magnetic and a mech. So yeah. Next, we got the Galvanizer. So, oh, I forgot to scroll down. I forgot that's only showing the first row there. Galvanizer, 2 mana, 1/2 mech, reduce the cost of mechs in your hand by 1. So, Fireplume Harbinger, I believe it's called. Yeah. 2 mana, 1/1 for elementals. This is a neutral card, 1/2 for mechs. And I think we already know that mechs are going to be pretty good. Now, for what classes, we're not 100% sure, but we definitely know they got enough mechs here to know that they're going to be around. And, I mean, it's a good card. So, it's not on the same power level as... Man, how am I going to forget this guy? 2 mana, 2/3, or... It's... Yeah. I don't know. The 2 mana, 2/3 mech that was in GVG. So, yeah. But I think it's 3 stars. Definitely going to be played and experimented with. Unpowered Mauler, 2 mana, 2/4 mech, can't only attack if you cast a spell this turn. So it's basically Argent Watchman, if you remember who that was, and I highly doubt anybody does, because it was a 2 mana, 2/4 that had Inspire that can attack, and it never was played. And this card will never see play either, so it's a 1 star. So, Spark Engine. 2 mana, 2/1 mech. Add a 1/1 spark with rush to your hand. Meh. 2 stars. Bulldozer. So, 9 mana, 9/7 mech with Divine Shield. This is your big arena card. Obviously, there's always that one big, powerful arena card, and here it is. It's actually not horrible even in a standard if you're able to grab it from like some Discover effect. Or even if you got, like, so say if you're playing like that large warrior and you pulled it out and you had that rush effect on it, I mean, this clears pretty much almost anything in 1 shot, and then it'd still be a 9/7 body because it's got the Divine Shield. But I'm going to say it's 2 stars because it's just too basic, and it's at that 9 mana slot. If it was 8 mana, and even if they drop down like a stat or 2 points, I think it would be really good. But, yeah, 2 stars. Then we've got the Damaged Stegotron. 6 mana 5/12 mech, taunt. Battlecry deals 6 damage to this minion. So, to me, this is very much a priest card. There is potential in Paladin too because of the legendary spell being able to resurrect a mech. So if you resurrect this guy, obviously he comes back at 5/12, and if you magnetize anything on top of it, it gets all of those effects also on top of it. So very powerful for even Paladin. But I also kind of like it in Priest too because, hey, if you get a damaged minion, you got Northshire Cleric out there, there's your possibility to draw some cards. Being able to, healing stuff is kind of what Priest does, obviously, and you got a lot of potential there. So I think there's definitely a chance for it. It's like Injured Blade Master at 6 mana though. So yeah, I like it. I actually like it a lot. I think it's 3 stars myself. It's actually pretty close to 4 stars, but I'm gonna be conservative on them. 3 stars. Then we got Rusty Recycler, 5 mana, 2/6 mech with taunt and lifesteal. I just think it's a little too, I don't know. It's just too weak, personally. I think if it had magnetic on top of what it has, it would be amazing. I think it would actually be very, very good and versatile. But because it doesn't, I don't know if you'd want to play this without having something, added to it already. So to me, I think it's a 2-star card. So War Gear, 5 mana 5/5 mech with magnetic. It's decent stat line. You're looking for 5/6 usually, but because it's got the mech tag, it's I think that's about worth 1 stat. And then Blessing of Kings is basically 4 mana 4/4. This is 5 mana 5/5, basically like Blessing of Kings for mechs. I think it's pretty good. I'm gonna say 3 stars. Steel Rager, so 4 mana 5/1 mech with rush. It's basically just removal for anybody, and I don't think it's worth it. I don't understand what they were thinking either, because come on. Magma Rager's 3 mana. This is 4 mana. This is absurd. Every Rager's gotta be 3 mana. 1 star. Alright, we got our Piloted Reaper. Here it is. The Piloted Shredder guy. So 4 mana 4/3 mech, summon a Death Rattle, summon a random minion from your hand that costs 2 or less. This is the reason why I say Piloted Shredder is insane. You're pulling the card out of your hand, and if you don't have a 2 or less cost card in your hand, you don't get anything, and it's not good. Which is why it's not nearly as good as not even close to as good as Piloted Shredder. So it gets 3 stars. Piloted Shredder is a 5-star card. This is a 3-star card. It just shows it was insane the power level they gave GVG. I'm quite surprised. But we'll go over here. Explodinator, 4 mana 3/2 mech battlecry, summon 2/0/2 Goblin Bombs. Here we go again. The Goblin Bomb meme. So I love it. I love it. It's so much fun. Obviously, it's not a great card. It's 2 stars. It's straight up just a meme card. Coppertail Imposter, 4 mana 4/4 mech battlecry, gain stealth until your next turn. So it's actually a pretty good card. It's got even stats. 4 mana 4/5 is usually what you're looking for. 4 mana 4/4, but it's got stealth and it's a mech, so it's definitely making up in that. And because it's stealth, this is a great card to add a magnetic card to it. So you play this, they can't interact with it. Next turn, drop War Gear on that baby. Boom, 9/9 on turn 4. Oh well, to the face on turn 5 or whatever. You know what I mean? Basically like that. So you're hitting them in the face for 9 or something. It's pretty damn good. I like it a lot. Now, do I think it's like a 4-star card? No. I think it's close. I think it's in between. We're going to go with 3 stars. Brainstormer, 3 mana 3/1 battlecry, gain +1 health for each spell in your hand. I don't like this card at all. I don't think it's worth anything. I don't think you'll ever see play of it. 1-star card. So, yeah. Micro Tech Controller. Just that. So, 3 mana 2/1 Battlecry, summon 2/1/1 Microbots. So kind of once again reminds me of like Egg Napper. It's definitely not bad. I like it. I think Egg Napper is a little bit better because it's the Death Rattle. So to me, I'm gonna give it like a 2-star. Yeah, not the biggest fan of it. Next, 3 mana, 2/2 Mech Kaboombot. Death Rattle, deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion. I just think this is basically an arena card. Not the greatest. Dealing 4 damage to a random minion. Not that bad though, so I'll give it 2 stars. Bronze Gatekeeper, 3 mana, 1/5 Mech with Magnetic and Taunt. Now, this is actually a card I feel like I should talk a little bit about, just because it's very close to Silverback Patriarch, but because of the Mech and Magnetic, I actually don't think it's nearly as bad as what people are probably going to judge it as. Because I think, so to me, you have to almost look at this card as more of a buff than it is anything else. So it's almost kind of a spell. I don't really think you'd want to play this by yourself. Playing it by yourself isn't horrible, but think of it from this way. If so, there's a card, we're gonna get to it. It's a 2 mana 1/5, okay, and it's a mech. And then you play this on turn 3. You have a 3, you know, basically it's like a 3 mana 2/10 with taunt. I mean, that's pretty good. So I think that this card's being a little bit underrated, and I think that there's a lot of potential for him. So I'm gonna say 3-star card for sure for him. Bronze Gatekeeper. Definitely going to be looking out. Electro Right. 3 mana, 3/3 Battlecry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, gain +1/+1. Not worth the struggle. I'm so underwhelmed with this card. I don't know why. I don't like it at all. That I'm just going to give it 1 star. Even though I think it's probably deserving of 2, I just don't like it. I don't think you're going to ever see that card being played. Maybe in an arena, but... Spring Rocket, 3 mana, 2/1 Mech, Battlecry, deal 2 damage. Not the worst thing, definitely not good. 2 stars. By the way, I don't know if you ever noticed, if you ever watch all of my reviews, I get a lot more harsh as I get closer to the end because I'm kind of like, all right, let's get going here. I'm ready to go. Maybe I gotta split them up a little more. Cloak Scale Chemist, 2 mana, 1/2 Stealth Divine Shield. It's not. I mean, you could buff it. You can buff it with some spells and stuff, but who cares? I'm trying to think if I want to give it a 2-star. It'd be nice. Nah, 1 star. Toxicologist, 2 mana, 2/2 Battlecry. Give your weapon +1 attack. I actually like the card. I like you know, buffing up your attack. You could see. I mean, just in a rogue by itself, it's not too bad. So. You know, you got rogue, you got warrior, paladin stuff. There's definitely potential. So I don't think it's super great though. I just like, you know, buffing up the attack of weapons. So you don't see it too often in like neutral cards. So I'll give it a 2-star. Then we got Whirly Glider, 2 mana, 2/1. Summon a 0/2 Goblin Bomb. Yes. Goblin Bomb. 2-star card, you got the Goblin Bomb in there. Oh boy, here we go. We're on our final 5 cards, guys. So, Upgradable Framebot. This is the card I was talking about. 2 mana, 1/5 Mech. I think this card is awesome. So awesome. This card is just great for any deck that's going to be playing mechs is going to play this card. I guarantee you it. And because, I mean, 2 mana, 1/5 by itself is just good. And it's got the mech, and then you got the new magnetic on top of it effect, where you can start buffing it. I think the card is 4 stars. I mean, I think you're going to see this like all over the place. Definitely. Then we got Goblin Bomb, probably the best card in the set. But no, seriously, I do really think that it's funny that they've made this like this weird meme into this card. So I think a lot of people are experimenting with Goblin Bomb, trying to make some weird Goblin Bomb deck that I'm definitely going to try out, trying to kill people with these Goblin Bombs. So it's obviously a 2-star card because it's just straight up meme, but you know, I don't even have to really talk about it too much. Skaterbot, a 1 mana 1/1 mech with Magnetica and Rush. So this is just, in my opinion, it's better than the warrior card that warrior got, which is a 2-mana spell that gets rush and draw card. Because you're getting a +1/+1 buff plus rush. And yeah, I like it. Obviously, your warrior's a little more versatile. You get a drawing a card, and you'll put it on anything, so it doesn't have to be a mech. But yeah, I like Skaterbot. I think it's a 3-star card personally. Then we got Mecharoo. 1-mana 1/1 mech. Death Rail, summon a 1/1 Joey bot. So, I mean, this card is, put it this way, okay? Possessed Villager was played in Warlock, and quite often. So this is a neutral Possessed Villager. I think in any aggressive deck, they're going to play this. So, I think it's a 4-star card. It might even be, like, close to 5. I think a lot of these small cards that you've seen. So, I'm going to do the last card, and I'm going to tell you the cards that I think are just, like, amazing from this one cost category. Faithful Lumi, 1-mana 1/1 mech, give a friendly mech +1/+1. So, not too bad, but not the greatest. So, I do think that there's definitely going to be a chance, because it is a 1-cost card, it's a mech. You're going to see this card being played. 3 stars, I think there's definitely going to be experimentation. But anyways, let me talk about it quick here. So, the cards that I definitely think are, like, up there for, amazing, for, like, 1 cost, is Mecharoo. Is like pretty much any of these 1-mana 1/3s and Mecharoo. So Mecharoo, Eternium Rover is another one, and then there's the Paladin one, like Glowtron. So I mean, these cards to me are like up there to be like 5-star contenders. I didn't want to give them 5 stars because I really want to like kind of reserve the 5-star category for stuff that I think is very like amazing that you're gonna see played every single. I do think you're gonna see those played every single time, but I don't think it's because of those cards that's gonna be actually meta, like breaking the meta kind of thing. I think what it is those cards are extremely powerful. On top of that, you've got a even more powerful like spell, because I think a lot of the the spells, legendary spells, are what are gonna be doing it. So anyways, that was my review. So I gotta edit it a little bit. Not too excited about that, but we'll get it done. And hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to watch this back in like 2 years from now and see how terribly wrong I was. And hopefully I got some things right. And hopefully our Goblin Bomb Lords bless us and we're able to kill some people with all of the Goblin Bombs. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great one.